We had been told that Qalqilya may be impossible to enter. For days at a time recently, the only way in, a heavily guarded checkpoint on its western edge, was closed. No one went in, no one came out. But there we were, 10 of us led by Dr. Imad, curiously free to inspect the fortified Israeli army post. Dr. Imad is a physician from Tulkarem who makes regular visits to Qalqilya, where medical care has been thoroughly disrupted.
This is the only gate in Qalqilya, and we are happy to see that it's open now.
We left in a hurry as soldiers began to appear and headed into town. We would spend the night at a local hostel located just blocks from what we had all come to see. A strategy session that night mapped out our immediate plan.
Good. So that's a starred one. The others are left.
Okay.
Okay. Carmen, she's at what?
She's at the Perez Center. I assume that's not
In the morning, a procession of children, like you'd find in any civilized country, were heading to school. We had seen the school briefly when we arrived, gleaming, a modern icon of what was possible with foreign aid and commitment to the next generation. As a symbol, it was hard to minimize, and given its location, it was a cruel irony. For just beyond the 6-foot walls protecting the schoolyards was the other wall, this one 26 feet high, staring down at us. This section of the barrier wall bisected the farms next to the school. While the children were inside, our guide Suad was explaining the local situation in Qalqilya.
Wow, what's happening?
It took a few minutes to regain our composure. We came to Qalqilya, knowing it could be dangerous. There were flashpoints along this imposed boundary constantly. As a captive city, businesses could not survive. Farming was interrupted, and nighttime assaults had left the community shell-shocked. From the roof of an adjacent barn, we could clearly see Israeli settlements on the Palestinian side of the Green Line. Also, the buffer zones, highways, and artillery used to protect and segregate them. A former landfill provided the Israeli army a high embankment used to lob shells into the city. In a city completely encircled by barriers, where farmland had been confiscated, trade routes abruptly barricaded, and families separated, Qalqilya was dying under the strain of the wall. We saw it for ourselves, in the fields, in the streets, at the locked gate. The human costs were incalculable. As the sun went down, we saw what we had only heard about. From inside Qalqilya, the beauty of a sunset had also been taken away by the wall. The symbolism was bad enough. The reality was terrifying.